Hi guys, I'm back with another webinar, and today we're going to be focusing on tips and tricks for a successful Thespy. I know once Georgia ThesCon comes around, our students get intense on really focusing on making their Thespy the best that they can. And so today I will take you inside of what makes a successful Thespy. So the first step is to choose your category carefully. Explore all the categories available, whether it be acting or technical. There's a vast array of different ones that they can enter. And the second step is choose something that will play to your strengths as a performer or technician. Um, so if you are better at harmonizing, maybe you should look into doing a group or doing a duet musical. Some of my technicians, like for instance, costuming. I have a student that's a costumer, and she's really, really good at constructing costuming. So she chose to go into costume construction this year instead of costume design. So choose something that you will be successful at and really play to those strengths. If you're really good at solo performances, whether it be musical or acting, you may want to go into a solo performance. Three is where I find a lot of students having difficulty with, and I sometimes have to, focus their attention back on what's going to be the best for them and what they can achieve. While you're allowed to enter more than one Thespy, make sure you don't overextend yourself and do too many, and that you're constantly rehearsing different Thespies, and you can't really focus in on making one successful or even two. What I personally tend to do is I do not allow students to do more than two, and if they do two, then usually it is a group number for their second one. I don't allow them to usually enter more than one individual category, because I feel like it takes away their focus on really making one successful. And then four, make sure that you enter a category you are interested in. Your passion will really shine through your work. And that's the same with when you're picking your pieces or your piece. If you don't feel a connection to it, that's not going to really shine through. And it's the same with choosing your Thespy performance as well, and including technical execution. If you do lighting and you do sound, but you're really passionate about sound, then you need to go into your Thespy with sound design and really making sure that you know what you're talking about and that you're passionate about it when they're asking you specific questions about your design element. Step two, picking your material. The first step is to make sure you understand the copyright rules and rubrics. The rubrics are on the internet. It's on the Georgia Thespian website. It is on the EDTA website. Make sure that you understand all the rules that go into the rubric. I've seen a lot of students disqualified through my years of judging middle school Thespies and formerly IEs and high school Thespies. And so just make sure that your students really understand the rules and the rubrics, especially the copyright rules, because there are scenes and songs that are not allowed to be performed. For example, a lot of people don't know that a lot of Neil Simon's work is not is not on the green light list. So make sure, especially if you're doing scenes, that you really check that red light, green light list, so that your students don't get disqualified, or you're at the point of you've turned in your Thespies and it's not going to work. I'm sure that's happened to a lot of us. I know it's happened to me a couple of times. So really make sure that you look over that list. Choose a piece that you connect with. And like I said in my previous slide, that you have a passion for and you really want to tell this story. And that will really come alive with the judges and with your character work. 3, avoid pieces with profanity and sexuality. Don't forget, if you get the honor of performing on main stage, they probably will not choose something that has a lot of profanity and sexuality. It is a high school conference, so make sure that it is age appropriate. And it also can make the judges feel uncomfortable judging high school students doing something that may not be appropriate in such a small space, especially. 4, choose something that you haven't performed a lot. For instance, I don't let my students who are majoring in theater in college use their college audition piece as their Thespy piece, and I don't let them bring material from shows we've previously done. I think this gives students a new challenge to kind of step outside of their comfort zone and try new things, and connect to new pieces that we're not doing consistently in class. And I think you'll see a difference in their performance as well, in that they're discovering new things about their talent. And that really shows through with their Thespy performances. And number 5, avoid overdone songs or the latest trending musical. That's my opinion, but you want to give the judges something new, something they haven't seen before, or something that hasn't been done in a while. Classic pieces always tend to do well at ThesCon as well. Watch out for the latest trending musical. I remember, back when Dear Evan Hansen came out, there were about 10 pieces of the same song of You Will Be Found. And that puts you at a disadvantage, because not only are you competing against everyone that is performing, but also everyone doing that same song as well. And so, even if there's 10 pieces of the same song, they're going to pick the top one to showcase if they choose that song to showcase. So be really careful and avoid the new musical that just came out. I have a Spotify playlist of unknown musicals from off-Broadway, from Broadway, and that's where I tend to find a lot of my materials for Thespies. Is just listening to some of these songs and thinking of what students' voices would fit best with which song, or looking at scenes from plays. I go to the drama bookstore every summer, and one day of my vacation I just sit and read different plays and look for different scenes that would be great material for classwork as well as for competition pieces. Step 3, rehearse. Always read the entire script of what you're presenting. That should be common knowledge for our students, but I know a lot of times it's not. So just make sure that they read the scripts. That's why I do not allow them to get a scene from a monologue book or from a scene book. They have to have script in hand, and usually they choose from my script library from plays that I have bought. Make sure that you have your students do your character analysis and beat work with the material. I do not see them to help them block. until this is done. And so until I see that they have put forth the character work and they've read the script, then, we only have maybe 4 rehearsals where we're really delving into the blocking and the staging of it. And this also helps with memorization. Memorization naturally occurs as you explore the pacing, the pauses, the movement, and other elements of the piece. It makes your life a lot easier as the director because when they come in with this pre-work, they already kind of have an idea, and I have them just perform it for me and go with kind of what their gut instincts were and help them along to create more interesting pictures. Create interesting and motivated blocking and stage pictures. Judges want something visual. And so look at your levels. How can you create different levels in your scene and not just talking heads? Can you use chairs and can you use that as levels? So just make sure that you're creating interesting pictures, because even though it's a competition piece and it's not on stage, you still have to find that motivated movement and movement that's going to fit with the character work. Okay. And then have your students workshop your pieces in front of peers and teachers. I do a whole Thespy unit where students essentially have to audition to do a Thespy, and they perform for each other, they get feedback, and then we pick the top performances as kind of a group, and then I usually set one performance aside so that I can do a group piece to add more individuals, more students into performance.